Well, it looks like uh, World War III has just begun, and I don't use that term lightly. I'm not a screamer in that way,
Yeah.
you know. This has been going on for a while. I've been following it. I've tracked it, and I was really surprised how fast it's happened. But I've been tracking it for the last few days, and let's go. I'll show you exactly what I've dug up. So on the 17th of November, uh, outgoing US President Joe Biden gave Kiev authorization to use long-range weapons inside Russian territory, going back on his prohibition of such only a month earlier. A month ago, he said, you can use our weapons, but they have to be used within Ukraine.
Yeah.
Now he says you can go. The US supplied Army tactical missile systems will be used to launch the missiles, supposedly on military targets like tank building factories, stockpiles of ammunition, staging posts, and stuff like that within Russia. Why now did Biden change his mind? Or rather, did Biden change his mind?
We can back out the answer to that one.
Or,
Yeah.
or was it the Pentagon?
Well,
Right, well, let's carry on and then we can start drawing our conclusions. Right. Zelensky was pleased to receive the news and said that the decision didn't come soon enough. This was a day later. He said, but strikes are not carried out with words. Such things are not announced. Missiles will speak for themselves.
wonderful.
This is
Yeah.
Warhawk Zelensky.
Well,
Putin, for his part, said that if the report is true, it would change the nature of the conflict. He said that such attacks will not be possible without the aid of Western nations. It would mean that NATO countries are directly involved in the military conflict with Russia. And so Putin, for a long time, Putin has been saying, look, don't do it, don't do it. Back in the US, Donald Trump Jr., son of President-elect Donald Trump, accused the imbeciles in the Biden administration of promoting World War III. Quote, the military-industrial complex seems to want to make sure they get World War III before my father has a chance to create peace and save lives.
yeah.
He said, got to look at those trillions, life be damned, imbeciles. President-elect Trump has always claimed that he could work a peace settlement between Ukraine and Russia within 24 hours when he takes office. Back in Russia yesterday, on the 18th of November, Maria Zakhanova, Russia Foreign Ministry spokesperson, sorry,
Yeah.
for the wokies out there, reacted to a potential change in the essence of the conflict.
Yeah.
She said Kiev's use of a long-range missile to attack our territory will mean the direct participation of the US and its satellites in hostilities against Russia. In this case, Russia's response will be adequate and tangible. So it's pretty clear. You do
Yeah.
that, something bad's going to happen.
Mm.
Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold.
Yeah. Okay.
But a cold is nothing because we're talking about World War III. So
Well, it's everything to you. Yeah.
priorities.
Yeah.
Where did I get to? Sven don Starch, German politician. He wrote, the deep state and the globalists want to prevent you from taking over the new administration by driving the world into a great war. In a letter he penned to Donald Trump. He goes on, the first step in this direction is that the Biden administration has allowed Ukraine to use America American long-range missiles to attack Russia directly. In doing so, the globalists want to force a hot war between NATO and Russia. A war, end quotes. A war that on one hand is intended to prevent the handover of power to you in Washington. So this is a German guy who's got no dog in the fight of the American elections.
Yeah.
Saying what he's like us. Take a step back, have a look in, and it all becomes very clear.
Yeah.
So today, Ukraine launched the first US rocket on mainland Russia, destroying a stockpile of Russian ammunition and everything that goes with it. It was quite a large blast.
Yeah.
Minutes earlier than this, Russia had reiterated the threat of a nuclear response. So just before this was set off, they said, look, the Russian Federation said, open quotes, the Russian Federation reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in the event of aggressions against it with the use of conventional weapons, close quote, said by the press secretary of the Kremlin. She said that only this morning before the rocket was launched.
Yeah.
So the rocket was launched. The explosion happened. I can't imagine Russia not responding, especially 2 minutes before the rocket was launched. They threatened the West with a nuclear response. They aren't just going to take it on the chin.
No.
And I think to a certain extent, Russia tried to take it on the chin until Trump was in office, so they could sort the situation out. And like the German guy said, and like Donald Trump Jr. said, the Pentagon are doing this to prevent Donald Trump either taking office, because Biden could declare a war emergency.
Yeah.
Or he would have absolutely no power once he is in office to try and destroy him.
Yeah.
Domestically in the US, the Democrat supporters are trying to find ways of crashing the economy so that Donald Trump can't be credited of building the economy up.
Yeah.
That's another story. We're talking about the conflict here that could spill over into Europe. If it spills over into mainland Europe, then the favourites to be hit are Germany and the UK.
Yeah.
Germany and the UK, and of course the US. So
it's possible, isn't it?
It's hunker down, boys. Hide under the bed when it starts to rain metal.
Hot stars.
Thoughts?
Right. My thoughts are, well, when I saw it flash up this morning, I mean, I saw you send a text on we've got a group. Yeah, a group of us have got a WhatsApp group. Suddenly Steve puts up World War III starting, and I was doing something else at the time, doing some work, and so I immediately go on a non-regular news site to check the truth, as it were. I'm not promoting any particular one. And well, what is this? This was somewhere under the protest, underneath the London protests in London today by the farmers. So I find that quite amusing. Yeah. But anyway, this happens with news media. Something comes in, okay. But it's it's serious. Now, as you said, it was all about Putin taking it on the chin. I suspected that the current US administration would do something. We all know Zelensky's a puppet. Yeah. Or not necessarily Zelensky, the administration of Ukraine are puppets. I don't think Zelensky's a bad guy in himself. I don't know. You know, I don't know the real Zelensky. I'll be quite honest. I just know he plays the piano with parts of his anatomy. Um, it's a, it's a. Is it serious? I'm going to play it down here. It all depends on how. I mean, yeah, okay. There's two sides to it. Okay, Ukraine, sovereign state, was invaded by Europe, by Ukraine. We're all going to slip there, by Ukraine. Physically invaded by Ukraine.
Russia.
By Russia. Sorry, by Russia. And yeah, okay, rights and wrongs of all that. We've already discussed all this. Yeah, what led up to it? We've already discussed. Yeah, ambitionists, plans, whatever you might think of it. I believe the EU is an imperialistic type organization, be it localized. I also believe that Russia probably have aspirations, certainly for Eastern Europe as well. Never going to end well, was it? Yeah, we had a more Russian leaning administration pre 2014 in Ukraine, which was elected in. I believe it was, yeah, fairly, and even the EU said it was fairly elected in. Yeah,
Not really. Not
well,
really.
okay, yeah, but yeah, pre 2014. What happened after that? Yeah, okay. Eastern Europe being Eastern Europe.
Yeah, well, you just let them go. You let them get on with it. It was a color revolution. What's
Yeah,
called a color revolution in
yeah,
2014,
yeah,
and the people weren't satisfied of who was elected. They ousted him. Well, I say the people. I mean the foreign people, the US and
yeah,
Europe, weren't
yeah,
satisfied who got elected. They took him out and put
mm,
Zelensky in.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
to simplify it all.
yeah,
And the parts that were invaded by um, and since 2014 civil war in Ukraine,
mm,
because there are certain areas in Ukraine like Crimea and the Donbass areas that wanted autonomy, that
yeah,
wanted independence from Ukraine, and they've been battling over this
mm,
since 2014, since that color
yeah,
revolution.
exactly. Yeah. So
And Russia just went into Crimea and the Donbass. They didn't go into
no,
Ukraine.
no,
So much so that the two regions in the Donbass area, they declared themselves independent. They
right,
had
yeah. A referendum,
let me see to
really effectively a
a
referendum.
referendum
Yeah,
on it, and they decided they were independent. But
yeah.
I
That's a
don't, what's in the past is in the past.
yeah, but
I'm more
focus on the
wanting to
future. Yeah,
look at
yeah,
now, what's happened now,
yeah. Well,
and where do we go from here?
yeah. I mean that's it. But Russia, whatever Putin in his mind had an excuse. Yeah, and this is, as I sort of said, this has been building. Um, Anyone that couldn't see it in 2014 wasn't really paying attention. Yeah, we all got a bit concerned then, but we thought it all died down. Um, Obviously, other events around the world took over. Now, how Putin will respond? Um, Putin is unpredictable. Let's be honest. Trump is unpredictable. Putin is unpredictable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're never quite sure what they're going to do. Putin is the ultimate cold warrior in a way that probably Trump isn't. But yeah, Trump isn't even in the picture yet. I suspected this when Trump won. I wondered what they would be doing to make his, well, one of two things: to make his initial presidency difficult, like you said, crash an economy, if he still makes it there, or to make sure he didn't actually take power. Let's be honest, this is all about power. This is power games all round.
Yeah, yeah.
This isn't about the likes of you and me on the ground or the Ukrainian people. They are the last consideration. It's probably not even about Zelensky. I mean, I think Zelensky would like it to talk and try and work something out. He knows his country's going to be owned by someone at the end of all this. Yeah, it's either Russia or a bankrupt Europe, or others. Make up your mind.
Well, look, this idea of Biden changing his mind and sending the rockets, it was in the space of 2 days.
Well,
And so for me, the rockets would have to have been in place.
well, yeah,
the arms to fire the rockets would have to be in place. The targets must have to have been aimed to have been sighted.
Yeah.
So I think this decision to send rockets into Russia was done a long time ago,
Of course it was.
because the arms have got to arrive from the US.
Mm.
Specific rockets have got to arrive from the
Oh
US, and
yeah.
that you don't do it. You don't do all that in 2 days.
No, of course not.
I was surprised at the speed of the action since it was proclaimed. And then it wasn't even the White House that proclaimed it. It was all done through leaks and through
Of course it was. Yeah.
leaks coming from the Pentagon. Just to spice things up a little bit, the Pentagon has 7 years now has failed its audit. There are trillions of dollars again, which funnily enough, 9/11, the day before 9/11, they were complaining about all the money that was missing from the Pentagon, trillions of dollars again.
Yeah.
And Donald Rumsfeld, he said that if the money's not found, there's going to be problems. And the day after was 9/11. He said that
yeah.
on 9/10.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, disregards,
So,
like you say, yes, it's wheels within wheels, whether or not 9/11 was a convenient accident. Yeah,
well, it could well be that World War III might be just as well.
well, cool.
As
I mean,
well.
what? Well,
The coincidence that the coincidence is
yeah,
if it happens once, you can understand it, and they'd normalize themselves. Happened the second time, and the modus operandi is the same.
well,
Of course, they can't do another 9/11 because there's no buildings left to fly planes into.
well,
But
yeah.
you never let a crisis go to waste, and we've got
Well,
a world war on our hands.
well, this is it. I mean, well, depends what. Yeah, definitely. Well, would it still be localized or what? I mean, like you say, it'll be Russia's response. It might be that Putin will sit and make everyone sweat. It's like you say. Yeah, I believe he's going to hit Germany if he's going to hit anywhere. Being cold,
Well,
rational.
the first place is going to have to hit is the US,
Well,
because as if the rockets if the missiles are from the US, it's the US that is doing it.
I mean,
And so he's going to have to. And the thing about Putin is, I don't think that he likes getting pissed up his back,
no.
right? And if he did, he wouldn't last very long as a dictator
I mean,
that he is. It's going to
well,
have to.
he's the ultimate cold warrior and cold
Right,
operator.
right.
Yeah, well,
So
we
he's
know
going to
that.
have. He's
Yeah,
going to have to do something. If he drops the A bomb on Kiev, that might do something. Get a little nuclear bomb on top of Kiev and see
yeah.
what happens.
I mean, yes, he'll do something that's. Yeah, there are limited things. It's still pretty not good, not good.
No,
These
so
limited weapons. I mean, yeah, has he been pushed to it? I mean, both sides have been pushing. I mean, yeah, there's no innocent parties here, totally. You don't give Russians an excuse. You never have done, and they've not really changed. They might have
well,
changed this stuff.
the West has always been giving Russians excuses.
Well, yeah,
They
1,000
said they
years.
wouldn't go any further east, and they did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
And on Russian, the country that borders onto Russia, they put in a European sponsored president. I mean, what they're wanting to put a base in Ukraine. I mean, they're wanting Ukraine to join NATO. I mean, what more can how can you poke the bear more?
yeah, well, this is it. I mean, we all know. I mean, I'm not nobody's suggesting that Putin's a nice, well, Putin, Russia, nice guys, but yeah, it's we are tense now. I mean, is it a Cuban Missile Crisis situation that can be de-escalated? Is it further down the road than that?
I think the shit already hit the fan, Mark. To be quite honest, I think if they would have just stood there with the rockets in Ukraine,
Yeah,
saying right, we're ready to fire these rockets into Russia, and they didn't do it. that would be that could be the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah,
And then you wait until Trump gets into power,
yeah,
and then you resolve your differences.
yeah.
They didn't. It's like if Cuba had launched a rocket into the US, would the US what would the US do?
Yeah. Well, this is
You know,
it. And it's, I mean, yeah, the rights and wrongs of the initial thing, the Ukraine. Yeah. Now we've really reached an impasse somewhere that, something's got to happen or give. Um, I mean, yeah, whatever side you're standing on in the US of your voting preferences, well done. We're now where we are.
basically, the US has declared war on Russia without going to the House of Representatives or the Senate.
Of course. Well, I don't think
You
it's
can't
part.
do that.
I don't think it's the president because he went wandering off into the Amazon
Yes, he
jungle
did, but I'm
yesterday.
sure he went for a wee wee.
But yeah, it's quite nice actually. I know people have been there, so it's quite nice. I don't blame him. I think I would be at the moment just to be into the Amazon.
What's
uh,
worse? What's worse is that he forgot to turn up for the G20 photos. That meeting
mm,
that he forgot to turn up for the photo where they have all the leaders,
yeah,
and he was absent of the photos. He forgot.
I think I deliberately missed that. I wouldn't want to be associated with that bunch of
They'll have to
idiots.
Photoshop him in,
Yeah.
put him in a
Um,
huge nappy.
yeah. Anyway,
All the memes, all the memes that can go on the internet now with him photoshopping him
yeah.
in a huge nappy and holding a little girl
Stop,
sniffing her
stop,
head.
stop, stop! You're giving the Russian meme factory ideas now. But
I think they're well ahead of me.
yeah, we're not Russian agents, by the way, people. Yeah, we're joking. We're not some, but yeah, we are. I think we're both very, very concerned about the situation.
Of course.
Um, yeah, I mean, what do I think is going to happen? I haven't got a clue. I think there will be a Russian response. I don't know how measured it will be, what it will be. It could be a much more aggressive stance going into Ukraine to say, right then, do your best or do your worst. I think Russia, despite I never understood this threat from Russia because they say, oh, Russia's a threat to Europe. And then they say, well, they won't be able to withstand our might against them in Ukraine, and the Russians are still there. I
They're
don't
saying
think.
Russia's a threat to Europe, and they were buying gas from them for goodness'
Yeah,
sake.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, there's a certain incoming president who pointed this out some years ago and got laughed at.
Yeah. Well,
Um, so yeah, you reap what you sow, guys. But the trouble is, it's the likes of you and me who reap the benefits of the people we elect into. Do we elect them into power? I don't know if we elect them into power. I don't know anymore. But yeah, we're just presented with this bunch of people whom we just put an X on a box for. Um, I'm now I really don't know what to make of it. And I can't predict, no one can predict Putin, what he'll do. He'll sit there calm. If he doesn't do something, is that would that be perceived as being weak, or would it be perceived as
yes, it
being,
would. Yes,
yeah,
it would. But even by his own people,
yeah.
yes, it would.
So, but then how measured is the response? I think his immediate thing was to go in harder with Ukraine. I think he's been with,
Minutes before the rocket was launched, they said,
mm,
if you send a rocket, we're going to use nuclear.
well, yeah. So I think he's given us quite a direct answer. He's the only one that's bothered to have nuclear nuclear exercises in Moscow with the population to remind the world.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's right with the Ukraine, but now we've got to where we've got to. Like you said, hang on a few months, a month or so, and you'd have had another leader in the US. Yeah, I it might be even the Biden administration wants something like you say, or not the Democrat administration to retain power. It's a time of crisis. They might be trying to find a loophole in it all. Um, I don't know. I mean, none of us
Various
know. Yeah.
various various NATO countries
Mm.
have been doing drills with the populations
No, well,
about going into hiding if bombs are being dropped on them
no, well,
recently over the
yeah.
last couple of over the
Yeah.
last couple of weeks.
It's just like we were taught in the 80s in the schools to, if in a nuclear strike to
Right?
hide under the table.
Yeah.
Um,
Kiss
So
your ass
that's,
goodbye.
yeah, that's it.
I was more flexible back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, yeah, will be no more. There will be no winners from World War III anyway. No real
No,
winners anyway. Um, yeah,
it'll just level everything. You've got to start everything from the beginning again, which is possibly what the order from chaos people want. They say the globalists are wanting this.
yeah.
Um,
Well, they get their elitist moments, don't they? But they forget the population. We're now more educated than we've ever been in the past.
yeah,
More globally educated, we can turn on them quite easily. Whatever the new world order what they want to bring in is, they might not find it that easy. But
of course not.
yeah, I'm not using threatening words. Yeah, I'm just sort of saying,
We're all pacifists here.
yeah,
Just throw it out there. We're all
yeah,
pacifists.
we're all pacifists. Yeah, yeah.
Too old
Um,
to join up, so don't worry about it, folks.
no military training as such.
Uh,
Absolutely nothing to offer anyone. Yeah,
I'm just flapping my gums.
yeah. We'd be good politicians, wouldn't we?
Don't flap enough. Don't.
Got too many morals, too many ethics.
They flap the gums until they get chapped lips.
Please. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. We're being flippant and light now, but yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll get to do some more podcasts and maybe do a follow up to this sometime in the
No, we'll be
future.
able to because of where we are.
Yeah.
The thing is, will the people be able to report what's going on because of where they are?
Oh well.
There'll be very few reporters want to be on the ground.
No. Yeah, that would be a rather interesting scenario. But yes, the guy standing there with an exploding sun behind him somewhere, you know.
Yeah,
And I'm saying if things have got a little bit hotter now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
as he burns half his face off.
Yeah. Well, it's like the film from the 1980s. Was it Day After? Where they actually showed very rudimentary, cheap budget special effects, but effective enough to scare the population of the US into trying to end the Cold War. Yeah, it is available online, people, if you want to watch it. It's called The Day After, and there was one in the UK called Fred's, which is all about a nuclear strike in the UK. So all available on the internet if you wish to actually yeah, available I think on Tubi and on Plex as well. If anyone's particularly interested in watching it. You don't know what I'm talking about now, but yes.
I zoned out again.
Well, educate yourself, people.